Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our beautiful viewers out there in this paradise of the world that we live in. And welcome to another Intimate Conversation series. And this is today, we have our beautiful guest is Julia Stubbe, who is with us. And welcome, Julia.
Oh, thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to have a conversation with you, Mandy and Janine.
Beautiful.
Welcome.
We're so happy you've said yes to coming in and joining us as well. And so I would just hand it over to our beautiful Janine right now to read your bio and introduce you.
A pleasure. Julia facilitates healing for New Earth and her beings. Julia is a way shower, a gifted energy intuitive, channel and teacher, specializing in assisting others to wholeness through awareness and self-empowerment. An extraordinary spirit, her journey to wholeness began more than 30 years ago. It was through her own powerful personal transformation through energy healing that brought her to share this profound work with others. Julia interweaves many healing modalities to find a deeper understanding of physical and emotional dis-ease. By peeling away the layers of surface challenges and blockages, understanding and realization of issues through this healing enlightenment are exposed, allowing deeper issues to come to light. This approach to clear old programming and activate creative DNA coding elevates your vibration and frequency, facilitating healing, transformation, and support on your journey of unfoldment. And just at the end here, I'm just going to read through the links and websites for Julia. So Julia's website is www.juliastubbe.com. She has a YouTube channel, Julia Stubbe the Galactic Channel. And she also runs facilitates a radio show called A Call to Heal, which is on boldbravemedia.com. Okay, so welcome to you, Julia. And
thank you, Janine.
A pleasure.
Very excited to be here.
Yes, we're excited that you're here as well. It's always lovely to meet another beautiful heart in our world here and share time and conversation.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to start off by, a great way to start our conversation today would be with you sharing with us who Julia Stubbe is and how you arrived at this beautiful version of yourself that we see here with us today.
There are so many stories. Who I am today is I feel that with my journey, I am whole. I still have little pieces every once in a while that I have to explore because they might bring something up. Like right now, I'm working on some things with my lower chakras as far as that goes, because some things that were buried deep have finally displayed themselves for me to be able to take a look at and work through. But I was, I came from a dysfunctional family. I'm just going to say it, this is very nice. And I tried talk therapy. I had a lot of anger issues and self-destructive issues in, my late teens and 20s. And in my 30s, I had been going to a massage therapist because I had been in a car accident in March of 1980. And she had to go get her hips replaced. So this was like the turning point for my life. She sent me to another massage therapist who was a shamanic healer. And her name's Ann Picone. She's out of Reading, Pennsylvania, here in the States. And she touched my heart chakra, and the pain shot through my back and down in my tailbone. And in that instant, I knew I was in the right place. And so from that point on, I made the commitment to do inner child work, really work with myself, heal myself on all different levels as far as emotional and physical, because it's like your body remembers everything, even though your brain blocks that all out because it's just too much trauma for you, but your body still holds on to it. So there was a lot of health issues that I had to work through. And from there were little things that happened. Like I started making salt scrubs and bath salts because to doing the energy work, that's what you use to clear your fields. And I didn't find any I like because I'm a little fussy sometimes. And then from there, I took like a Reiki class, and then I was guided to go to the Omega Institute up in New York, and I ended up taking a course, IET, which is Integrated Energy Therapy, which was working with the angels, and I worked with Stephen Thayer. And that changed from me being, I still was doing work on myself, but it enabled me to be able to facilitate for others easily. I'm a Reiki master instructor in 2 different modalities of Reiki, but IET was always what I would call my modality of structure. And then since then, it's all evolved because it's like I have no control what comes through me as far as the energy goes, because I just work on keeping my channel clear, and I get out of my own way because I don't heal anybody. I don't heal anybody but myself. And so that energy that comes through, or that information that comes through, is really clear, and it's not convoluted with any of my stuff, so to speak. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's where I'll start.
That's beautiful. I get the hollow vessel, that's the best place to be if we're working with anyone, isn't it? In that hollow vessel, just clearing ourselves out so we can be that pure divine love as much as possible coming through. It's a good way to start.
Yeah, it's really important, because if we take claim or control that we're the ones doing this, not only do a lot of times I've noticed that people end up taking on the issues of the other person that they're working with, but they also can limit what the universe or the divine has to offer the person that you're facilitating for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You said back at the start, Julia, that you've still got bits and pieces of your own stuff that's coming up, and
every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're always a work in progress, aren't we? Always. There's never a time we're not. And
absolutely.
I'm noticing for myself and others that are wide awake, that it's the deep stuff that's coming up now, like deep stuff that's been held down, that's been distracted from, that's been unrecognized, sometimes deliberately, sometimes like consciously, sometimes subconsciously, but that's what's coming up now for clearing out. And my knowing of that is because moving into the higher frequencies of the new world, this heavier vibrational stuff in us isn't a match. We don't fly in there and become the new world ourselves until this stuff has been faced, and sometimes it just needs to be recognized and acknowledged, and no heavy hard work needs to be done at all. So would you agree with that, Julia?
Yeah, I do agree, because a lot of the stuff that I allow divine healing to happen. And in this instance, where I'm working with my lower chakras, the message that I had gotten was like, it's something you need to recognize. It's something that you need to really acknowledge, because it not only, I'm just going to say, because it has to do with child molestation and sexual incest, as far as that goes. And it was with my step family. It wasn't with my birth family. So where I've taken this, or where they've have me taken, and when I say they, it's like that source, the divine, is to work with an ancestral healing for the step family, because that's the line that really needs the healing. So yes, I have a piece of that, and that's coming up. But as a facilitator for others, it's like, well, we want you to see this so that you can assist in healing that ancestral line. And that's why it had to be something I had to recognize. That was the message. So I'm still working through that. I mean, I've come, like, even in the last 3 or 4 days has been huge, because I've been working on it over this past weekend, and it's not pretty, but it was just like, okay, because I had like pains in my body showing up, and what it was just the pains were releasing, and it's like I was almost I don't know how you release, but some people release with like coughing, almost gagging when there's something that's so heavy in their body that needs to let go. So it was that experience for me. And it's like, okay, we'll do this layer now. I'm going to be grateful for all this. I'm grateful for the opportunity. And then, you know, in a couple of days, we'll come back and let's see after I've evened out with this little slice and see if there's any more I have to look at.
And you realize when you're clearing those things or transmuting them, you realize just how toxic they actually have been in your body and how much pain you were actually holding that you weren't even recognizing, because we tend to just get on. We might have a pain in the elbow, but we just get on and we learn to live with it a lot of the time. So in those deep dives, and I think right now too, there's a lot of, when you say lower chakra, for me, that was sort of around the survival thing, you know, as well, because a lot of that's come back in with the way the narrative of the world, you know, whatever, you know, is going on out there. But it's really bringing back that survival fear for a lot of people as well. And if you were a child and you were, and I'm just going to say victim because it's like I don't want to be in victim energy, but as a child you were a victim, and the way you cope with it was to people please. It's like you wanted to please so they don't hurt you anymore, and it's like how do you keep all that, you know, from exploding out of you? And so your body takes it on, your body holds it, but your brain blocks it out because it is too painful. So you go past, you know, through whatever it is, and it's like it's just still sitting in there. And sometimes it might not cause you pain for years because you're really not ready to embrace it or to deal with it. And your higher self, I truly believe that your higher self knows when you're ready to explore those possibilities so that you can become even more whole. And I like to use the word whole because being awoken has really nothing to do with it, because you can be awake, you know, and on that path, but you still can have all this stuff inside of you that's a little bit broken and needs healing. So I like to call it my journey to wholeness as opposed to my journey of awakening, because I've been awake for a long time. Yeah, and it is, we're going from the 3D healing state into 5D plus holding, you know, where we're bringing back all the fragmented parts of ourselves. So all of those parts that we go into and do that type of healing work with in the deep dives, we're actually recovering parts and bringing back fragmented parts of ourselves that is stuck in that timeline as well.
And Mandy, not only like in this timeline, but a lot of times we're in these loops that in past lives we've experienced that. So we're just we're recovering from that loop, and it's just coming back into this timeline again. So it's important when I work with, you know, a client, it's like we do it in all dimensions. We work in all dimensions, past, future, parallel, and everywhere, to really release those energies or those contracts, anything that is locking it in place, so that it can really give you that freedom on all levels, so it doesn't come back and circle back again later. So it's just not on this timeline.
Absolutely. I was going to actually, just going back to what you said at the start there, I was going to ask you how it was as an intuitive empath as a child, because a child's already very sensitive anyway, and then add to that your gifts. How was it growing up in a toxic environment, and how did you cope with that? So you've briefly touched on that with your people pleasing. How else?
Yeah, and I didn't even know that you were doing it. You just, because that was all part of it, because that was just one piece of the toxicity. My mother and my birth father were alcoholics, and there was a very volatile relationship there. The relationship with my mother and my stepfather was also alcoholic and very volatile as far as that goes. And because I just knew because I was telepathic, I guess you could call it, because I'm clairaudient. So their words, when words came out, I would hear the words, but I would also hear what they were thinking.
Yes.
So, and a lot of times it just didn't level up. And so I guess I learned how to shut my mouth because, you know, when you're challenging your child and you're like, well, that's not what you're really saying. You can't say that as a child. It's like, and survive. So it's like, I guess you learn to really shut your mouth, and you also learn, I would think I became a chameleon as far as that goes. I had to be whoever I needed to be in that moment of time to survive.
Yeah.
So you play with the energy, you scope it out, and it's like, okay, this is where I need to be this person. And so when I got into my 20s and before I started energy feeling, I really didn't even know who I was. I had no idea, because I was playing the role all my life just to survive.
And it is like that, definitely. And I remember myself doing a lot of healing work as a young student, I suppose, in it. There was always that part that, like you, that higher awareness, as with all of us, that sort of was walking alongside of us in this journey. And I always called it the observer. So my observer was sitting here, and things would be playing out, or drama, Mandy's playing out her life, an observer would be giving me a little bit of knowing, wisdom, but Mandy had to just go through and do whatever it was she needed to do in the moment. But a lot of it was out of control as well. Like, I knew I was playing that out, but yet I couldn't stop it. It was an inbred cycle that was just, overriding, really. But I also feel like how we talk about hollow vessel, and a lot of the time in those healing processes with others and clients on the table or anywhere really, I was able to put myself aside. And I'm sure you learnt to do that too at a very young sort of age when you came into this work, or your, purpose, I suppose, that, you learnt to be able to put yourself aside and allow that hollow vessel and that state of, divine to come through. It's interesting though, isn't it, how we can do that?
Yeah. And it's also, for me, it's like, you've heard this thing, you give a healing, you get a healing.
Yes.
So, like in the beginning, a lot of the clients that came had very similar timelines. So that's what the universe brought me. So it enabled me, like, even though I was working through them, it enabled me to allow that stuff to appear for me. And I chose, and it is a choice, to look at that so I could heal it. So it's always a choice as far as whether you want to deal with your stuff or you don't. And it's not always pretty, but it's always, in my opinion, it's always worth it.
And do you find when you go into, like, you're in that space now where you're dealing with your lower chakra stuff, are you finding that it's taking you back through so many other lifetimes where you've had those same experiences?
Well, what I do when I work through the past life stuff is I look for energetic connections. So, because I think we can get distracted with the stories. So what I do when I'm working with the Akashic records of my own or others is I look for, first of all, I figure out, I just go whatever lifetimes, how many, and I'll just get a number randomly because that's what Spirit's showing me. And then I'll just flood those lifetimes with divine forgiveness and divine compassion for self and others. And then I'll start releasing the energies of betrayal, deceit, abandonment, distrust, and start releasing that. And then the way I see it, this is the way I see it, then that number diminishes, because that's my monkey mind needs to know that. So it diminishes. And then it's like, okay, so what else am I seeing? Okay, there's some victim energy here. Let's release that. Oh, that's not going. So then what I would do is I'll release any vows, contracts, hexes, curses, promises, forces, anything similar in nature that's locking that in place. I allow those to be released now. And then I see if that lets me go a little bit further and get closer to anything that's left. And sometimes I'll just get down to one or two, and maybe I'll get a story then. And maybe I need to know that story, maybe I don't. But I just continue to work with that till that time, all those timelines are clear as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's the process process I work with. But it's like when people want like an Akashic read, it's like, nah, that's not me. It's like, because I don't really focus on the stories. I focus on the energies, because that's what we can release. And then we can also access where we had this joy and this bliss and allow the coding in our DNA now to awaken to those lifetimes, because some of that coding is suppressed and it's imprisoned. So if we can access it from previous lifetimes of how we did something with magic and how we did something with bliss, let's bring that and awaken in our coding too, because everything we have is within us. Everything we need is within us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I found it really interesting before when you said as a child, you would hear what the adults were saying and you could hear their thoughts that were very different to the words coming out of their mouth. And that intrigued me because I had exactly the same experience as a child myself, but I never looked on it as hearing their thoughts. I could feel that what they held as feelings didn't match the conversations, the words that were coming out of their mouth. And I would often say, you know, like for instance to my mother, I'd say, "Oh, Mum, you know, why were you saying such and such to Auntie so-and-so when you're not feeling that at all?" And I'd get a wee cuff around the ear and be told to keep my nose out of adults' business. Yet,
You learned.
and yet Mum would often say to me, "Oh, when Auntie so-and-so was talking to me before, love, what were you feeling?" So she would, But the reason I say that is because when we're children, we're very clear and we're very connected, and we're not fully indoctrinated into the programming at that age. So we have those gifts. But now, as adults, so many are coming back to those gifts because releasing themselves from all the mind stories and the programming, they're starting to realize that we are becoming transparent to each other. And, you know, it's happening more and more. I'm noticing myself with those around me that we're connecting in, that we're feeling into each other. And the words often don't match because a lot are so used to being in those stories and embellishing or exaggerating slightly or, you know, having the drama. And there's no need for any of that now.
No. And the language is changing, isn't it? You know, there's just old energy around the old story and language. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I know, even like growing up through all my years, it's always been, it's heck on relationships for me, because it's like, you know, if a guy tells you something and it's like, well, let's talk about this, because there's no place to hide, you know. So, and I've had where after my son was born, I was doing some waitressing, and just to get out of the house, you know, meet people, you know. And so I was sitting after hours, after we were done our shift, with another waitress, and I was having a beer, and I don't drink anymore at all because I just don't have, I can't, my vibration doesn't do it. But we were having a conversation, and I wasn't paying attention to her mouth because we were talking, because I know that I have to watch somebody's mouth, because I got to make sure I see whatever they're asking me that comes out of their mouth, because I can hear it from here. And she was thinking, I don't know what I would do if my husband would die. She never said it out loud. And I answered, I said, well, that's something we all think about. If our spouse would die, how would we survive? And the look on her face was like, oh, it's true what they say about you. And I'm like, oh, why? It's like, why did I, you know? So it's just, it's like, it's, you know, and I can't wait for the day where we all can be that transparent and be that honest and be that open, and not have to, that we can be our authentic selves openly and without fear.
Well, that's the new world, isn't it? We're authentic, we're transparent, we're completely open, we're fully in trust. It's like, bring it on. But we have to go through the experiences of now, of letting go the old and bringing in the new, through actually experiencing and facing, of course, all these pieces and parts. And the old is no longer required. The hiding, the untrust, the unauthentic, you know, to fit in, to be liked, to feel loved. We don't need any of that now. So we're releasing that, because we're coming into that in ourselves, aren't we? You know, we're bringing it all in for ourselves, by ourselves, because this is who we are. So we don't need validation out there from others. Well, that's where we're headed anyway, that we don't need to play that game anymore.
No. And Julia, did you have siblings and anyone around you that was sort of understood you at all in that space?
No, I have a half brother who's a step brother or half brother. He had the same mother but a different father, and he's younger than I am. So his reality was completely different.
Right.
Because I was the one that put myself between the violence and him, as far as that goes. So he didn't see that. And
right.
so so there really wasn't, as far as that goes. And my mom knew about my gifts. My mom was aware of it because she actually brought people in and had me do readings and oh yeah. So she knew that. And so she in a way exploited it because she would bring people in, but nobody ever trained me like how to clear my fields, how to ground, how to do any of that. That's why I'm really passionate about that part, that piece of it in this life, because as an empath, how we pick up everybody else's stuff. And if you're not doing that spiritual hygiene, that cleaning and clearing your fields, and I know there's different opinions about shielding. Some of us don't have to worry about it, but some of us that are really super sensitive really have a need to shield. But if you don't know how to do that, it can affect you at such levels. I mean, I was just always sick, always not feeling well, always. And if I would have known how to at least clear and ground myself as far as that goes, I think my health conditions growing up would have been different. As far as that goes. So that's why I really, like when I stress with people, it's like, so what's your spiritual hygiene routine? Where do you start? And how often are you doing it? It's like, I'm kind of serious about that because I lived through it and nobody taught me. I didn't learn really how to do it till in my late 30s.
Right.
So yeah, so that's the piece there.
So were you aware, because this is so me when I was growing up too, that was exactly me, in that I had nobody around to discuss it with or to guide me, and I had to learn to really trust my own guides and guidance here, and yet I didn't actually have the awareness to pull anyone out and go, right, you're the one that I can trust and go through. There was just this awareness and knowing that there was someone there, or some of them that I could trust, and I was being guided. But yeah, I had to learn it all through spirit, really.
Yeah, I didn't. It's really hard to explain because for me, I was just so in my, I was in a cycle of self-destruction and anger and stuff in my 20s. And it's like, I really, truly didn't think I'd even live to see 30. Right. So I lived like that, and then when I hit 30, I'm like, I surrendered. I said, okay, I'm here now what? And, and then once I had my son when I was 32 years old, and that kind of awoke in this stuff, the child abuse, the violence, it woke it up in me, like I could see it, because I chose when I raised my son is to break that cycle, that I would not ever hit my son, even though I will confess, I did hit him one time. And this is a funny story. He was probably 7 or 8 years old when we were in the grocery store, and he had a buzz cut, and he likes to experience things. So he stuck his head under the vegetable sprayer, like, the mist that comes through the vegetable sprayer. And I whacked him in the shoulder because I probably would have whacked a complete stranger. So I'm just letting you know, if you're near me and you're putting your head under the vegetable sprayer, you might get whacked. And this woman looked at me, and I was like, oh my gosh, first time I ever hit my child, I'm going to get for child abuse. And my son, God love him, goes, Mom, you hit me. You never hit me. And then he proceeds to the whole grocery store to whack himself in the shoulder to see how much momentum he needs to get that feeling back. So, but that was the only time that I ever hit him. And, so there wasn't violence. I made a conscious choice that I was going to break that chain, break that cycle. So, but you only know what you know sometimes. So you got to have compassion for those who do repeat the cycle until somebody can show them that there's actually a different way. That's that whole thing, because not everybody gets to know that there's other ways of doing things unless, it's not always available. So it's really important as a holder of the light for us to really have compassion for others of wherever they are on their journey and what they're seeing and what their reality is.
100% agree
Yeah.
with you there. I went on your Facebook page earlier on and was having a look at some of your YouTube clips on there. I've been on there 2 or 3 times, and the one that I was watching today was a journey that you were taking us all on to ground and clear and shield, and so just what you were talking about before. And yes, I would recommend Julia's videos, and so you've got two Facebook pages, I noticed. One is Julia Stubbe Galactic Channel, and one is Julia Stubbe. So, but most of your clips are on your Galactic Channel one, is that right?
Well, actually, I post mostly on my personal page because it's like I really marketing is not my strong suit. I'm just letting everybody know that. I just don't get into that. So I just like to create ripples, and that's what I like to do. But my videos, I try to share on both places when I have them. And it's like I'll wake up on a Saturday morning and I'll get a message. Okay, we want you to go merge with the Tree of Life this weekend. Okay, what does that look like? So I'll get a few people on board and I'll say, okay, we're merging with Tree of Life. Who knows where this is going? And then that's how we create that video. I am gonna, starting on actually the 12th of each month, I do a live, which I'll be streaming live on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, is a channeled healing for whoever shows up. So it'll be live, it's free. And
Beautiful.
it's the 12th of each month, and it's 3 o'clock Eastern, which would fall into where you're like 9 o'clock in the morning there. But once we change the clocks here in the States, it might be different.
Yeah, and here we change at the end of this month. So,
okay.
Yeah.
How do we? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So Julia, you're taking us on a journey today. So I'm looking forward to this very much. And so does it feel good to do that now? Are we in the flow?
we can do that now. What I'll do is I'll start with what I call the apple flow, and it's about really anchoring us into earth and connecting to source. And then we'll just see where source spirit guides me to take you. And then we can tell you what it's about, because right now we don't know.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So let's everybody get comfortable. If you're driving and listening, don't close your eyes, okay? No closing your eyes if you're driving. But if you're in a safe place, feel free to close your eyes to enhance the experience. Take a couple nice deep breaths in through the nose and blow it out through the mouth as if you were blowing out a candle. Releasing all the stress of the day. Another nice deep breath in through the nose, breathing in love, blowing out any heaviness in your body. And let's bring our attention to our heart space now. And let's allow your heart to fill with love and gratitude and compassion for self and others. And I want you to see, know, or feel, or use your imagination as your heart expands, and feel your heart expanding. And let's send that love, that compassion, that gratitude down through all your chakras, out your root, down, down, down to the crystalline core of the planet, the heart of Mother Earth. And in the stillness, you may be able to feel her heartbeat, become one with her heartbeat. And when you're ready, let's receive that love, that gratitude, that compassion back up 1,000-fold. See, know, or feel it coming up through your root, through all your chakras, out your crown, a small percentage going to the galactic core, the other 95% wrapping down and around, coming back through your root, creating that perfect toroidal field, that beautiful shape of an apple. The energy's running through and around you. You're holding on to nothing. Again, bringing your attention back to your heart, this time sending that love, gratitude, compassion up through your crown, to the suns beyond the suns, to the galactic core, connecting with source. And when you're ready, let's receive that back 1,000-fold. Coming down through your crown, through all your chakras, out your root, a small percentage going into the earth. This time, the other 95% is wrapping up and around and back through your crown, circulating through and around you, again, creating that perfect toroidal field. Beautiful shape of an apple. The energies are running through and around you. You're fully anchored into earth, connected to source. And I want you to allow this beautiful field, this beautiful toroidal field, to expand out 50 feet in all directions. And notice how you feel as you allow that to expand 50 feet below, 50 feet above, 50 feet all around, raising your vibration, your frequency, so that nothing of lower density can stay attached. And what I'm being guided to do here today is we're going to go up this beautiful staircase. It has platinum and crystals, diamonds and topaz, all kinds of crystals and all their energies. And your body, all your bodies, your subtle bodies, will know which energies of these crystals you need from the earth. But with each step we take up, we're going to raise our vibration by 1,000-fold. So let's take a nice step up. 1, 2, see what crystals to your left. Is it a rose quartz? It could be a beautiful emerald. It could be a ruby. Whatever it is, why don't you just take that crystal now and bring it into your heart and feel the energy of it and allow it to flow through your body as we take another step up. 3, 4. We're going to go 2 more steps up. 5, 6. And now there's this beautiful crystal bed that we can sit in and lay in and absorb these crystals. And we're going to allow our beautiful Merkaba. And I just want you to, if you're not sure what a Merkaba is, just use your imagination, because this beautiful golden beam of light is going to take you up, up, up to this beautiful garden in the higher realms. And here there's a beautiful stream and there's a meadow, and you find yourself floating in the meadow with the greenery, the flowers, the birds, the animals. And before you, there's this beautiful angelic being, these beautiful, beautiful pillars of light and legions of light. And this is your family. This is your connection. And they're here to hold you and take you deep within your heart to release any heaviness that you're ready to let go of now, and fill your heart with a beautiful inner peace. So just allow them to surround you. These are beings that are of a higher aspect of you, these legions of light. And as we release that heaviness in our hearts, and we allow and we hand it over to them to transmute, we allow in that inner peace, that inner joy, that inner bliss to permeate through all our bodies, through the physical, the etheric, the emotional, the mental, and all the spiritual bodies. And we just feel that. And they're saying there's a gift here for you. So there's these beautiful golden platinum tables. There's also these tables made of this beautiful wood, whichever table you're drawn to. There's stone tables, whichever table you're drawn to. There's a gift for you, whatever table, go. Some of you might see a crystal. Some of you might see a flower. Some of you might feel a feather. Whatever you see, just use your imagination. And that's a gift for you. That's something you can look at to see for further messages what that gift brings you. And now, what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we want to return to our bodies, fully into our bodies, back into our bodies, back into that crystal chair. Bringing our awareness to our toes, our fingers, coming back into the now, into this moment. Begin to stretch and possibly open your eyes, really bringing all your bodies into balance. And just bring your attention to your heart. Feel how your heart feels now, and feel how your vibration feels. And remember what your gift was. And maybe you want to take and research that a little bit and see what that message, that personal message for you is. But know that you're loved, and all the light beings and the legions of light are here to support you and bring you that inner peace, even though when it's really a little bit chaotic outside your world. Let's get fully grounded and connected in our bodies now.
Beautiful.
Oh, God, I had no idea where we were going.
That was beautiful.
Just
Thank
perfect.
you.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you.
Mm,
Thank you.
mm,
Well, thank you for all the
I can
viewers.
feel that. It's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. I totally agree.
So,
And so people can find these videos on your Facebook page and your
Well,
YouTube channel.
Yeah, mainly my YouTube channel is where everything is. And even my website, I have a page on my website that there's a page that has all links to all the videos. So it's like, you're not real savvy with YouTube, just go to my website and you'll find what I believe I have it called Heart Offerings. And it's just all these guided meditations free that are also through YouTube, but they're just in one place. You don't have to worry about the technology. You can just go there.
Perfect.
Beautiful. I find there's not a lot of guided meditations on YouTube, really. You know, when you go in to find something, there's just not a lot. So it's nice to have them out there.
Yeah, these are just easy processes that I did for myself, and I was just guided. So it's like, even if it's an older video, and in the beginning, it's like, let me tell you, it's like I had no tech savvy with my videos, but the energy's there and the process is there. And I've been getting better with the tech savvy since then. But, and so whether you are looking for a cord cutting, or you're doing ancestral healing, or you're doing some inner child, even if the videos are like 2 years old, they still have the energy and frequency to assist you. So just because they're not recent, it doesn't mean like, oh, what is that Julia Stubbe, that galactic channel woman have? Let's go see what she has. It's like, oh, here it is, something with, cutting cords of attachment. It's like, and see how that works for you, or inner child as far as healing and self-love. So there's all kinds of, and they're short, they're simple, they're easy as far as that goes. It's like, because it's like, it's only as complicated as you choose or you believe it needs to be. So if you can believe it's simple and it's easy, and I'm all about easy peasy, so that's what we go with.
Beautiful. Me too. Simple. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's life now, isn't it? That's where we're moving to with life. So Julia, on a different subject here, I'd love to ask what your personal view, of course, is of what's going on in our world right now. Just, yeah.
Well, it is pretty chaotic out there right now, and it can be fearful. So, but the darkness has always been there. It's always been there. It's just that our light is brighter. There's many more that are shining the light, which allows us to see the darkness that's always been there. So now that darkness is coming to the surface, and it can be really scary, because a lot of people didn't even realize it was there. Many of us did, but it just wasn't being seen. So now it's being seen by more and more people. So it gives them an opportunity to choose. Do I want to be in fear and feed this energy, feed this darkness? Or do I want to be in a place of divine love and kindness and allow that energy to be anchored into the earth so that we can raise this consciousness of the planet as a whole. So that's my short end of it. I mean, I could go a deep dive and down a few rabbit holes, but
Yeah. And there's been a few of those, hasn't there, through this time over the last couple of years? I know for me, I've done some really big deep dives and come back out and think, what did I do that for? But
right, because a lot of it's just a distraction to keep you from being in your sovereignty, being in your light.
Yes.
It's just a distraction. And so I've learned, because I you know, I'm getting better at like, I don't need to know all that. I'm just gonna like, because I transmute the energy for the planet. I've been doing that since I can ever remember. So because as an empath, I could feel the fear coming through, and I had, you know, and that. So it's like, so I get the climate of the planet. Actually, I feel it through my body when I'm doing this transmutation and working with the energy. So it's really, you know, for it to be transmuted love, so people can bring in the love. But everybody has that choice to choose. Yeah. And the more of you that choose that love and choose to know that you're fully protected. And yes, there's things that people are making choices, and we all have different paths, and some of you are activists, and some of you are just ones that meditate all the time, and some of you are teachers. Whatever it is perfect, but come from your love space. Come from that kindness. And when I say kindness, I'm not saying about being nice. I'm saying about being kind. Kind is kinship. Kindness is community. Kindness is for the greater good. Nice is when you just like, you give pieces of yourself away so you don't irritate or upset anybody. You know, so you become whatever you need. That's that chameleon part of, I was always told I was too nice. Well, I was too nice because I was a chameleon. But being in my authentic self now, I choose to be kind and come from a place of compassion, but yet still speak my truth.
Yeah. And that's it. You can hold your ground in your truth and actually still be in that place. It's a beautiful thing. We've learned to balance it more, come into that center line.
Showing up in our authenticity. That's isn't it? So it's just
without fear and judgment.
Yeah.
And isn't it's so freeing.
Oh gosh, yes. I often say to people, to clients, you know, just try it. Try standing in a moment in a conversation with somebody, and you don't want to be a part of that conversation. So be authentic and gently step back and out of that conversation and feel what goes on in yourself when you do that. Because the power that you start to feel in yourself, your truth that starts to grow, you want more and more. So that's, I often say to people, you will feel it and you'll want more of it. So you'll be more authentic in more conversations moving forward and more moments moving forward. And it's a step-by-step journey, isn't it, into authenticity and letting go all those aspects of ourselves that we've needed to survive in the past that really we don't need now. We only need to be authentic, and the power of that in itself is all we need moving forward. So and
I do want to add to that a little bit, Janine, is that your truth is your truth, but you also have to have compassion and respect, because your truth might not align with somebody else's truth, and it's not our job to shove our truth down somebody else's throat.
Exactly.
So it's about honoring other people in whatever stage of their journey they are, and you make the decision if you're going to partake in that and move forward on your own, or because you can't. You could, but you shouldn't. And I'm not trying to judge, but you don't want to have somebody telling you how to feel and think as that. So you don't want to turn that energy and send that energy to somebody else and project that to somebody else. So it's about having the confidence in yourself to know your truth. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to force that belief onto somebody else to make it real. You have to have the self-confidence to know that you're authentic, your truth is who you are, and love yourself that way, and not worry. I always say it's none of my business what other people think of me, because when I start worrying about that, I give my power away to them. So I just want to just bring that full circle, because we're all in different stages right now, and you know, the world is raising, and I truly believe that we'll all get there. It's just that I think some people get there a little bit, you know, it's not like we have us way showers that are like up here, but there's still a lot just waking up, and you know, we just have to hold the space and continue to hold the light for the planet.
Absolutely. The speed of everybody's journey is perfect for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. Totally hear you, Julia, and the honouring of each other in who we are and where we're at in our life. Totally agree with you 100% on that. And there's power in that as well. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
My internet has been playing up, so hopefully it wasn't interfering with all of this recording. It's I've missed a lot of the conversation as we've gone, so sorry if I didn't come in at the right times.
I thought you were
it's
perfect.
been freezingly.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Hopefully it's not.
We're all on a time. There's that timeline.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So what else would you like to share today about yourself, Julia? Well, we've got a few minutes to go. What would you like to say to the viewers before we finish off? And
okay, well,
support?
For those of you who are just waking up, and that you're looking for someone to assist you in facilitating and taking on your journey, you know, you want to really feel it in your heart. When you're like looking and reading what they have to offer, does it light you up? Does it feel light? Or does it feel heavy? And that's how you can pick someone to work with you as far as that goes. And if somebody says they can heal you, I'm just going to tell you to run, because nobody can heal somebody else. We all heal ourselves. So I like to empower others to heal them, to empower themselves to heal. That's been my philosophy, because when you start giving your power away to somebody else to heal you, like, then that's what you're doing. You're giving your power away, and you have everything you need inside of you. And just trust that and take those steps. And maybe, you know, you'll find whoever works with your energy best and trust it. And you might outgrow it and go to somebody else as if you evolve. And just take those little breadcrumbs, those little things that show up, and follow that path, whatever feels light, whatever feels uplifting, like, oh, and it might be, I have to tell you, a client actually from Perth, Australia, just found me recently because she watched this other video that came to this other video, and then I was on this other video that I was doing an interview, and she goes, this video took me to this video, and this video took me to you, and here I am, and I know I'm supposed to be here. And I was like, whoa, how does the universe work? So follow the breadcrumbs, follow the magic, and love yourselves. Just love yourselves, and hold that vibration of love. And if you're feeling the fear, if you feel fear, change the word fear to wonder or curiosity. Like, I wonder what that's going to be like, or I'm curious as to how that's going to show up, as opposed to I'm afraid. And see how that changes your vibration and your feelings.
Oops,
we lost her.
Here she comes. She is having difficulties.
That's okay.
I totally agree with you, Julia. It's perception is a big thing, isn't it? Like, if our perception comes through a filter of deep fear, then that is our life. That is how we view our life, and that stops us stepping forward into more of life, into trying opportunities and possibilities that are always there for us. So yeah, that's yes, that was a beautiful sharing. Thank you. You disappeared, Mandy.
I did. It's playing up today. I've just got the kids to bring in the extender, put it in the hallway, the Wi-Fi extension.
What a beautiful hour it's been. We're just on an hour. It's been it's been a joy to have this conversation with you. And
well, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Beautiful.
Oh, to feel you in the space, it's really lovely. And I know that the viewers will get a lot out of this conversation because you speak really
absolutely.
real, you know, and what you say
Yes.
is really relevant to now and what
Yep.
we're going through now and what we're faced with now that's rising within each one of us. Like nobody's immune to aspects of themselves coming up now. And so, yeah, yes, thank you, Julia, for being
Oh, thank
here.
you.
Oops, she's frozen again. Oh, well, you and me will just talk until she comes back because she's got the button to
She's
turn
got the
it
button.
on. Yes.
You know, when somebody else has the button. Okay, so anyway, here she goes.
We haven't had this kind of trouble for quite a while, so I'm not sure. Must be something in the ethers today, something.
It could be energetic. It's like the energetic energies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You back
Mandy,
again,
thank you.
Mandy? Yeah.
We'll allow you to turn the recording off so that we're all on the same page.
Yes, we'd finished and couldn't turn it off because you weren't here and you've got the button.
All righty. Well, thank you, Julia, very much for
Thank you.
everything.
Thank
Love
you.
to both
Lots
of
of
you
love.
and everybody listening. My heart's with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you very much.